everything having to do with sewer. Just like the water rate pays for everything that has to do with water, such as hydrants and fire protection and...
So then why is Dave being charged for, how many did you say, 4?
4.
It's based upon the gallons of water that is used
It's back, it's in here,
in the
talks
year, and
about
it's averaged out.
residential equivalency unit.
Those was already used. I pulled this from 2011 and 2012. So again, what we're saying is the billing is correct based upon the policy of the city. If the council would like to change the policy, that's a different issue. And that's gonna affect, a lot of things, of course, if you wanna look at that. And I wouldn't expect that you would wanna make a decision on that this evening.
So, I'd like to have an input from you people out there that got the apartments. What you think would be fair?
Go ahead.
I would ask, what do other towns do? Do you guys have any comparison with what the other towns charge or anything? How
Well,
about Houston?
Harmony, for instance, they charge a flat rate, and then, like if there's 10 of them in there, they charge for 1 unit, 1 price. Plus they add on, I believe they said $10 for the sewer and water for each and every apartment in there. So what I'm saying is, the apartment owner would be charged for the sewer and the water throughout the whole apartment complex. Plus on top of that, he'd be charged an extra $10 per unit. Meaning on 10 units, it'd be another $90 per month on top of the base rate.
Do they bill sewer based on water flow or a residential equivalency unit? Some places, your sewer bill changes every month depending on how much water you use. There's a base fee and then a volume usage also.
Well, right, but that's not the way we're charging.
No, it isn't. No. And I hope we don't go that route ever. That would be a pain, but you have to know that you're comparing apples to apples, You have to know for sure what their system, how they build their system.
Oh, true.
And you have to know if their sewer rate is based on an average water usage, or is it just a plain sewer rate that they just came up with, not based on water at all?
Their sewer and water rate is like they pay for one house, the base rate, plus it's either $5 or $10 per sewer and water per unit. So if it's $10 per unit, it'd be an extra $90 on top of their base rate of, what is it, 65 here for our water and sewer together? That's the way Harmony is set up.
I think we'd also have to investigate how else they're funding their sewer and water. They also have an extremely high tax rate, so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're not supporting their sewer and water through tax dollars, or we run it as an enterprise fund, as a standalone fund. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I'm just saying that it's different than the way that we do it. In cities that I've worked in before, we've used residential equivalency units for the most part. And then usually had an oversized charge, because usually an apartment building will have a larger water main and a larger sewer.
Well,
That may not be the case here, but in some cases they do, so they were charged extra for the larger pipe.
and I can understand that.
How about you go ahead? You guys what to say?
Well, kind of like with our houses, we didn't put in anything different, just like Mr.
Yes.
Sarvy's house is. Mr. Sarvy's house was an apartment building before. Person he probably purchased it from made it into a one home again. Otherwise, before that, his was an apartment building too, his house that he's living in. But we didn't change like any of our stuff, so I mean.
Are there separate electric meters for each apartment, for each dwelling? Spinks?
Well,
No?
for us, in our one house, we have separate electric meters, and then in our other house, we just have one electric meter.
The
So-
carriage house had separate meters, because when I was living there, they made us start paying, gas and electric. It just depends. I know electric meters were an issue as well for windswept in, and, that's because there was a house there, and and then there's a meter in the house, and then there's one on the inn, right?
Well, there's two separate meters,
Yep.
yeah.
So, that's not to say that you couldn't rewire it and run it all through one. It's just, that's the way it is.
But
I guess I'm just wondering how billing would be separate, or how we would make, how the billing difference in you know, by making those independent, if that would change anything, the way we have to bill.
Well, it makes it easier for each unit to be accountable for the services that they use. Otherwise, I think it's up to the owner to try to figure out how to divide that out if they only had one meter. Or they just pay it all and they have to upcharge the resident.
Something else to say, Dave?
yeah, because see, right now, my point is that my usage is basically nothing.
Nothing.
And I'm still paying the same sewer rates, which to me, that, isn't fair. I can see it, sure, if you want, your bill, if you want to bill me for when I'm using a lot, but right now I'm not really using anything.
Is that based on a quarterly bill or an annual bill? Or?
Luann does an annual average in April. In 2011, water usage was 151,500 gallons. April 2012 was 150,900 gallons. In January of 2013, it was 167,490. So I'm not sure what caused the spike. And then in April, she'll relook at that number and make sure the RAUs are correct based upon
But I'm also paying for the water. They're charging me a estimated charge plus a regular charge, both. So I'm getting.
We're all getting that.
Yeah, I know everybody gets that, but I mean, so I don't see why. It just doesn't seem like a real fair way of doing it.
The way I would understand that, David, that's basically the facility charge. I mean, that is amortized over the life of the plant, the projected life of the plant, 20 years or whatever, and then, it's like a mortgage. We have to put so much each month against it in order to pay for it, otherwise we'll run out and then nobody will get any water or nobody will have any sewer. So the monthly charges are basically our mortgage on our infrastructure, the way I look at it. And then there's a usage on top of it, right? If we
go above that.
want to water our lawn more, than somebody else, then we're going to have to pay more for that extra water. But
Or if you have a water leak.
that could be another reason. But I don't know that doesn't necessarily address the per unit apartment dwelling issue that Lisa and Steve have and that Roger is talking about. I think those are separate, aren't they?
It could be, sure. Again, it's re-looking at this policy and whether the council wants to investigate other ways of doing it. But, we have obligations based upon water and sewer loans. And so
Right.
whatever we do, we're gonna have to keep that in mind. We can't change the ordinance so much. All we're gonna end up doing is like what the state does with taxes. One year they charge businesses more and then they get hollered at and so they lower that and then they raise it for single family homes. So whatever we do, we'd have to make sure that we're meeting our obligations. And I think the fund, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kathy, but wasn't